Dear students, welcome to a new lecture on engineering mechanics. In this lecture, we will be discussing about moment of inertia of composite shapes. This forms part of the module 3 of the syllabus. Feel free to ask your doubts and share your feedbacks in the comment section. So these are your references, and thanks to Radin and Anna for helping me put this lecture together. So let us try to understand the concept of moment of inertia. Let us consider an arbitrary area. Let an xy axis be chosen. So we are going to choose an elemental area dA. Let the centroid of this area be at a distance x from the y axis and a distance y from the x axis. So x coordinate means distance from the y axis, y coordinate means distance from the x axis. So first moment of this elemental area above the y axis, that is equal to x into dA. What we are trying to do is we are simply going to take the moment of this area above the y axis, that is x into dA. That will give you the first moment of the elemental area about the y axis. Now if we take second moment of elemental area about the y-axis, let us denote it by diy, that is equal to x into xdA. This is the first moment of the area. We are going to take moment of that moment of area. Therefore, it will be x square dA. So x square dA represents second moment of the elemental area dA about the y-axis. If we need to find out second moment of the total area A about the y-axis, we represent it by Iy. It is equal to integral diy, that is equal to integral x square dA. Similarly, second moment of the whole area A about the x-axis, Ix is equal to integral dix is equal to integral y square dA. Thus, moment of inertia about the x-axis is equal to integral y square dA, and moment of inertia about the y-axis equals integral x square dA. These terms, moment of inertia or area moment of inertia or second moment of area, all represents the same quantity. Let us try to understand a theorem known as parallel axis theorem. Again, let us consider an arbitrary area A. Let an xy axis be chosen. Let G represent the centroid of this arbitrary area and Gx represent an axis passing through the centroid. Now, an axis is represented usually by two letters. The first letter will represent the point through which it is passing, and the second letter will represent the direction. For example, Gx means an axis passing through G in the x direction. Gy means an axis passing through G in the y direction. So Gx and Gy are the centroidal axis, and the distance between the gy axis and the y axis is x, and the distance between the gx axis and the x axis is y. So again, another notation that we have to understand is distance between y axis is represented as x, and distance between x axis is represented as the letter y. Now let us try to understand what is a parallel axis. So parallel axis represent any axis that is parallel to the centroidal axis. So the definition of the parallel axis is an axis which is parallel to the centroidal axis. Here the centroidal, here x and y represent parallel axis. This x-axis is parallel to the centroidal x-axis. Therefore, we call x as a parallel axis. Similarly, this y-axis is parallel to the centroidal y-axis, and therefore we will call y as a parallel axis. Now, The parallaxis theorem states that moment of inertia of a figure about the parallel axis is equal to moment of inertia about the centroidal axis plus product of area of the figure and square of the distance between the two axes. So if you try to apply that, we can write Ix, that is moment of inertia of the figure about the x-axis, is equal to Igx, that is moment of inertia of the figure about its centroidal axis, plus area into distance between the two axes square. Distance between the x-axis is nothing but y, therefore y square. Similarly, Iy, that is moment of inertia about the y-axis, is equal to moment of inertia about the centroidal y-axis plus area into distance between the two axes square, that is x square. Here again you have to note that if the two moment of inertia terms are having x in the equation, then the area has to be multiplied by the y term. So that is a way in which you can remember the formula. Similarly, here if you look into the formula, the two moment of inertia terms are having y terms here, and therefore in the area you have to multiply by the x term. Or in another way you can remember is distance between the x-axis will be nothing but the y coordinate. Distance between the y-axis will be nothing but difference of the x coordinates. We will see the application in the coming slides. So let us try to see the moment of inertia of some simple shapes. Let us consider a rectangle of width b and depth d. C represents one of the corners of the rectangle. Let us consider an xy axis passing through the corner C. Let G be the centroid of the rectangle and Gx and Gy represent the centroidal x and centroidal y axis. The distance between the two y axes will be b by 2. The distance between the two x axes will be d by 2. Now, we already know that moment of inertia of the rectangle about the centroidal y-axis, that is Igy, is equal to d into b cube by 12. So this formula has to be remembered. Moment of inertia about the y-axis is d into b cube by 12, and moment of inertia about the x-axis is b into d cube by 12. So you have to remember these formulas. Now, using this, moment of inertia of the rectangle about an axis parallel to the centroidal y-axis and passing through the corner C, that is ICY. So what we need to do is we need to find out moment of inertia of the rectangle about this axis, that is the CY axis. So what we are going to do is CY axis is a parallel axis, therefore we will apply the parallel axis theorem. That is ICY is equal to IGY plus A into x square. That is moment of inertia about the parallel axis is equal to moment of inertia about the centroidal axis plus area into distance between the two axes square. So if we do this, IGY is d into b cube by 12 plus area is BD plus distance between the two axes is b by 2. So if you do this, we will get it is as d into b cube by 3. Similarly, we can find moment of inertia of the rectangle about an axis parallel to the centroidal x-axis and passing through the corner C, that is ICX. This will be coming as b into d cube by 3. So you can remember this as moment of inertia of a rectangle about an axis passing through the base or any of the side is equal to b d cube by 3 or db cube by 3. Now let us consider the case of a triangle. Let B be one of the corners of the triangle. Let x and y be the coordinate system. G represents the centroid and Gx and Gy represents the centroidal x and centroidal y axis. Let B be the base width of the triangle and h be the height of the triangle. The distance between the two x-axes will be equal to h by 3. Now we know that moment of inertia of the triangle about the centroidal x-axis, that is Igx, is equal to d into there is a mistake here, that is b into h cube divided by 36. Now moment of inertia of the triangle about an axis parallel to the centroidal x-axis and passing through the base, that is we need to find moment of inertia about the Ibx axis. So what we will do is we will apply the parallel axis theorem. Ibx is equal to Igx plus a into y square, that is moment of inertia about the parallel axis is equal to moment of inertia about the centroidal axis plus area into distance between the two axes square. So Ibx is equal to b into h cube divided by 36 plus half bh, this is the area, into h by 3 the whole square is equal to b into h cube divided by 12. This is not d, it is b into h cube divided by 12. Therefore, moment of inertia of a triangle about an axis passing through the base is b into h cube divided by 12. Next is, let us consider the case of a circle of radius r. So C represents the center of the circle and Cx and Cy represent x and x-axis and y-axis passing through the center of the circle. So Icx and Icy both will be equal because it is symmetrical about the axis system and will be equal to pi r raised to 4 divided by 4. So these formulas has to be by hearted. Similarly, if we consider a semicircle, so this is the case of a semicircle and this center is C and Cx and Cy represent axes that are passing through the center. So we need to find out Icx and Icy. So the value of Icx and Icy for a semicircle will be half that of the circle. That is pi r raised to 4 divided by 8. So if you already know the moment of inertia for a circle about the axis passing through the center, then you can easily know it for a semicircle. Now let us consider the case for a quarter circle. So again the axis remains the same, an axis passing through the center of the quarter circle. So can you guess the value? If it is half for a semicircle, it is going to be 1/4 that for a quarter circle. Therefore Icx and Icy is going to be pi r raised to 4 by 16. So the only value that you have to remember is that of the circle, that is for a circle the moment of inertia about axis passing through the center is pi r raised to 4 by 4. Then that for the semicircle will be pi r raised to 4 by 8 and that for the quarter circle will be pi r raised to 4 by 16. What we have to remember here is the axis in all the three cases remains the same, that is axis passing through the center of the circle, axis passing through the center of the semicircle, axis passing through the center of the quarter circle. Next is, let us consider the case of a semicircle. So in this figure that is shown here, C represents the center of the semicircle and Cx and Cy represent x and y axis passing to the center of the semicircle. Similarly, the point G represent centroid of the semicircle and Gx and Gy represent axis passing through the centroid of the semicircle. And if we already know this relation, that is the centroid of a semicircle will be at a distance 4r by 3 pi. So we need to find out the centroidal moment of inertia of this semicircle. We already know that Icx and Icy is equal to pi r raised to 4 by 8. So now what we are going to do is Cx represent a parallel axis that is parallel to the centroidal axis. So we have to apply parallel axis theorem to find out the centroidal moments of inertia. Now, first of all, let us find out IGY. If you observe here, IGY and ICY, CY and GY represents the same axis. So, moment of inertia about the same axis will be same. Therefore, IGY is same as ICY, which is equal to pi r raised to 4 divided by 8, since both the axes are the same. Now, to find IGX, we have to apply the parallel axis theorem to the semicircle. So to apply the parallel axis theorem, first thing is we have to identify which is the parallel axis and which is the centroidal axis. So here centroid is G, therefore Gx is the centroidal axis and Cx represents the parallel axis. Therefore Icx is equal to Igx plus A into distance between the two axes square. That is, moment of inertia about the parallel axis is equal to moment of inertia about the centroidal axis plus area into distance between the two axes square. So we need to find out this term Igx. Therefore we rewrite the equation as Igx is equal to Icx minus A into y square. Icx is pi r raised to 4 by 8, area is pi r square divided by 2 and distance between the two axes is 4r by 3 pi. So if we simplify this, we will get the value as 0.11 r raised to 4. So these values have to be by hearted. That is, the value of Igx has to be by hearted. That is 0.11 r raised to 4. Moment of inertia of a semicircle about its centroidal x-axis is 0.11 r raised to 4. You don't have to by heart this value, because if you already draw this figure, you will understand that the axes gy and cy are the same, and therefore you already know the value for cy and therefore gy can be found out. However, the moment of inertia about the gx axis has to be remembered. That is 0.11 r raised to 4. Next, let us consider the case of a quarter circle. In this case, C represents the center of the quarter circle, and Cx and Cy are the x and y axis passing through the center of the quarter circle. G represents the centroid of the quarter circle. Gx and Gy are the axis passing through the centroid of the quarter circle. Now, the distance between the axes are 4r by 3 pi. The distance between the y axis are also 4r by 3 pi. Now, we already know the value of Icx and Icy. We need to find out Igx and Igy. To find Igx, let us apply parallel axis theorem. So to apply parallel axis theorem, we have to again identify which is the parallel axis and which is the centroidal axis. Here the parallel axis is Cx and centroidal axis is Gx. Therefore, Icx equals Igx plus A into y square. That is, moment of inertia about the parallel axis equals moment of inertia about the centroidal axis plus area into distance between the two axes square. What we require is this term Igx. Therefore, we will rewrite the equation. So if we rewrite the equation, we will get the equation as Icx minus A into y square. Icx from the previous cases we have learned that it is pi r raised to 4 divided by 16 minus pi r square by 4, that is the area of a quarter circle, into 4r by 3 pi the whole square. We will get it as 0.055 r raised to 4. So if you remember, the value that we got for a semicircle about the centroidal axis was 0.11 r raised to 4. So for a quarter circle, the moment of inertia about the centroidal axis is half that of a semicircle. So this is half of 0.11 r raised to 4. So you can easily remember the value like that. So Igy can also be found in a similar way. You will see that Igy is also 0.055 r raised to 4. Therefore, Igx and Igy for a quarter circle are 0.055 r raised to 4. Once again, if you remember, for a circle about the axis passing through the center, it was pi r raised to 4 by 4. For a semicircle, through about axis passing through the center, it was pi r raised to 4 by 8, that is half of the circle. And for a quarter circle, about axis passing through the center was 1 by 4th of a circle, that is pi r raised to 4 by 16. Then we considered the centroidal moment of inertia about of a semicircle. So we got it as 0.11 r raised to 4 for a semicircle, and for a quarter circle we got it as 0.055 r raised to 4. So these values have to be remembered. Now what we are going to do is we are going to find out moment of inertia of composite shapes. So composite shapes will be a combination of several symbol shapes. So the various steps involved are, first thing is we have to divide the composite shape into various symbol shapes. So we have already learned the moment of inertia values for various symbol shapes like rectangle, triangle and circle, quarter circle. So the composite shape that we are going to get will be a combination of this. So we have to divide the composite shape into various symbol shapes and number them. Next step is we have to calculate the area and centroid of the symbol shapes as well as the composite shape. Third step is moment of inertia of the composite shape about an axis is equal to sum of the moment of inertia of the symbol shapes about the same axis. So this is the basic idea about solving moment of inertia of the composite shape. That is, moment of inertia of a composite shape about an axis will be the sum of moment of inertia of the symbol shapes about the same axis. And the last step will be to find the moment of inertia of a symbol shape about an axis. All that we have to do is we will be applying the parallel axis theorem, because we only know the centroidal moment of inertia of the symbol shapes. So we will apply the parallel axis theorem to find the moment of inertia of symbol shape about any required axis. Before we proceed to do the computation of moment of inertia of composite shapes, we need to review certain notations that we will be using in the lecture. So G represents centroid of the composite shape. So the letter G represents centroid of the composite shape. G1, G2, etc. represents centroid of the symbol shape 1, symbol shape 2 respectively. For example, let us consider notation IGX of 1. So I means here we are having both a subscript and a superscript. It is read as IGX of 1. The letter I denotes moment of inertia. The subscript Gx denotes the axis about which the moment of inertia is taken. Again, an axis is represented by two letters. The first letter represents the point through which the axis is passing, and the second letter denotes the direction of the axis. And the superscript 1 represents the index of the symbol shape whose moment of inertia is calculated. So, for example, Igx of 1 means moment of inertia of figure 1 about the x-axis through the centroid of the composite figure. So, G means centroid of the composite figure. Once again, Igx of 1 means moment of inertia of figure 1 about the gx axis. What is the gx axis? Gx axis means it is an x-axis passing through G. And what is G? G is the centroid of the composite figure. Similarly, Ig1x of 1, it means moment of inertia of figure 1 about the x-axis passing through its own centroid G1. G1 is the centroid of the figure 1 itself. And if it is written, for example, in this case it is written as Igx, that is, there is no superscript given. So whenever the superscript is absent, the moment of inertia represents the moment of inertia of the composite figure itself. For example, Igx means moment of inertia of the composite figure about x-axis passing through its own centroid. So you have to be very clear with this notations to understand the notations very clearly, and then we can proceed. Now let us try to do an example related to computation of moment of inertia of a composite figure. Here we have to compute it about the centroidal axis. So this is the figure that is given. Step 1 will be we have to locate the x and y axis. So let us locate the x and y axis at one of the corners. The x and y axis may either be given in the question, or else you can locate it at one of the corners. Now step number 1 will be we have to divide the complex shape into various simple shapes. So shape number 1 will be this rectangle. This whole rectangle will be taken as shape number 1, and let G1 represents its centroid. Similarly, shape number 2. Shape number 2 will be this quarter circle, and G2 represents the centroid of the quarter circle. Similarly, shape number 3 will be this triangle, and G3 represents centroid of the triangle. Now, we only have to find out moment of inertia of the green portion. We have to find the moment of inertia of the green portion. So, however, green portion is a composite shape. It is comprised of a rectangle, a quarter circle, and a triangle. That is, if we have a rectangle, and from that rectangle if we cut out a quarter circle and a triangle, we will be getting the composite shape or the green colored shape. So step number 1 is we have numbered the simple shapes. Next step is we need to calculate the centroid of the symbol shapes as well as the composite shape. So let us find the centroid of the symbol shapes. Centroid G1 of the rectangle will be located at the geometric center. It is easy to find out. The x coordinate is the distance from the y axis, that is 40, and the y coordinate of G1 will be the distance from the x axis, that will be 30. So 40 and 30. Now to calculate G2, G2 will be the centroid of this quarter circle. As we know, centroid of the quarter circle from its radius will be 4r by 3 pi. So now x coordinate of G2. X coordinate of G2 means distance from the y axis. So that will be 4r by 3 pi itself. Y coordinate of G2 means distance from the x axis. So that is going to be the total 60 minus 4r by 3 pi. So 60 minus 4r by 3 pi. So if we simplify it, we'll get it as 12.73 centimeter and 47.26 centimeter. Next is G3. G3 is going to be, this is an isosceles triangle. Its centroid will be located at h by 3 and b by 3. Now x coordinate of G3 will be distance from the y axis. So that will be the total 80 minus 40 divided by 3, and the y coordinate of G3 will be distance from the x axis, that will be 30 divided by 3. So if we simplify this, we will be getting it as 66.67 centimeter and 10 centimeter. So the centroid of all the simple shapes have been found. Next is we need to find out the area of the various simple shapes. So A1 is a rectangle of dimension 60 by 40. Its area will be 4800 centimeter square. A2 is a quarter circle of radius 30 centimeter. Its area will be pi r square by 4. And A3 is a triangle of side 30 and 40, isosceles triangle. It's not an isosceles triangle, it's a right angle triangle, and its area will be half BH. So these are the areas. Now the net area can be calculated as net area of the colored portion, that is the green colored portion, will be A1 minus A2 minus A3. That is, from the rectangle we are subtracting a quarter circle and a triangle. So we will be getting this value. That will be the total net area of the colored portion, that is the green colored portion. Now next step, having so three steps we have done now. First step we have done is we have numbered the various symbol shapes. Second step is we calculated the centroid of the symbol shapes, and third step we calculated the area of the symbol shapes as well as the composite shape. Next step is we need to calculate the centroid of the composite shape. So x coordinate of the centroid will be sigma ai xi divided by sigma ai, and the y coordinate of the centroid will be sigma ai yi divided by sigma ai. So if we apply this, A1, that is 4800 into 40 minus 706.5 into 12.73 minus 600 into 66.7 divided by the total area of the green colored portion. So that we will get it as 40.93 centimeter. Here we have to understand that there is minus sign used for A2 and A3 because to get the required composite shape we have to subtract the quarter circle as well as the triangle from the original rectangle, that is figure number 1. Therefore we are using the negative signs here. Similarly, y coordinate of the centroid of the composite shape can be found out by applying this formula, that is 4800 into 30 minus 706.5 into 47.26 minus 600 into 10 divided by the total area will be equal to 29.94 centimeter. So we have got the coordinates of the centroid of the composite shape. So we need to form two tables, one for the centroids of the symbol shapes and the composite shape, and also one for the area of the symbol shapes as well as the composite shape. So these two tables will be useful to do the remaining calculations. Now, so we have computed, as of now we have first numbered the various symbol shapes, second we calculated the centroid and area of the symbol shapes as well as the centroid and area of the composite shape. Next step is we are going to start the moment of inertia calculations. So what we need to calculate is moment of inertia of the composite shape about its centroidal axis. So gx means centroidal x-axis or an x-axis passing through the centroid. So how do we do this, write this equation? We write this equation from the principle that we have learned, that is moment of inertia of the composite shape about any axis is equal to sum of the moment of inertia of the symbol shapes about the same axis. So we need to find out moment of inertia of the composite shape about its centroidal axis gx. That means moment of inertia of the composite shape about the gx axis will be equal to sum of the symbol shapes, moment of inertia of the symbol shapes about the same axis. So igx will be equal to igx of 1. The next two shapes we have to subtract, therefore minus igx of 2 minus igx of 3. Once again, the concept that we use here is moment of inertia of the composite shape about any axis is equal to sum of the moment of inertia of the symbol shapes about the same axis. So the problem will be solved if we are able to find out igx of 1, igx of 2 and igx of 3. Again, let us try to see what these notations mean. We have already seen this. Igx means there is no superscript, therefore it represents the composite figure. So moment of inertia of the composite figure about which axis? About the gx axis. And what is the gx axis? It is the x axis passing through centroid of the composite figure. Next term that we have is igx1. So there is a superscript, it represents moment of inertia of figure 1 about which axis? About the gx axis. And what is gx axis? X axis passing through the centroid of the composite figure. Next term we are having is igx of 2. So again the superscript represents the symbol shape 2. So moment of inertia of figure 2 about which axis? The gx axis, and gx means x axis passing through the centroid of the composite figure. Similarly, gx of 3 means moment of inertia of figure 3 about the centroid of the composite figure. In a similar fashion, we can also write equation for IGY. So IGY will be IGY of 1 minus IGY of 2 minus IGY of 3. So let us try to find out these three components now. So to do that, let us take the figure 1 alone. Figure 1 is a rectangle of dimension 60 by 80, and G represents the centroid of the composite figure. These are the coordinates, and G1 represents the centroid of the rectangle, that the figure 1 that we are considering. So A1, that is the area of the rectangle, is 4800 centimeter square. Gx means x-axis passing through the centroid of the composite figure, and G1x means an x-axis passing through the centroid of the figure 1. Now what we need to find out is, we need to find out IGX of 1. So to find IGX of 1, we are going to apply the parallaxis theorem to figure 1. Now to apply the parallaxis theorem, first thing is we have to identify which one is the parallel axis and which one is the centroidal axis. So when we are applying to figure 1, the centroidal axis will be G1x, because G1 is the centroid of figure 1. So G1x is the centroidal axis and Gx becomes the parallel axis. So now if we apply the parallaxis theorem with respect to figure 1, so I1 of Igx of 1 is equal to Ig1x 1 plus A1 into y square, that is moment of inertia about the parallel axis is equal to moment of inertia of the centroidal axis plus area of the figure into distance between the two axes square. So if we apply this, that is 80 into 60 cube divided by 12, that is BD cube by 12, plus area is 4800 into distance between the two axes square. So distance between two x-axis is simply difference of the y coordinate of G and G1 square. So we will be getting the value as, this will be the value. Once again, the difference between the two x-axis, we need to know the difference between gx axis and g1x axis. So the difference between gx and g1x axis can be taken as difference of the y coordinate of g and g1. So you simply have to take the difference of the y coordinate of g and g1. You don't have to look at the sign because we are having a square here. So you will be getting the value of igx of 1. Similarly, we can find out IGY of 1 by applying parallaxis theorem to figure 1. So here again we have to know which is the parallel axis and which is the centroidal axis. So the centroidal axis of figure 1 will be G1y, parallel axis will be GY. So if we apply the parallaxis theorem, IGY of 1 is equal to IG1 by 1 plus A1 into x square. X is the difference of the x coordinates of G and G1. So if we apply it, 60 into 80 cube divided by 12 plus 4800, the difference between the two y axis will be nothing but difference of the x coordinate of G and G1. So we will be getting the value as 2564151.52 centimeter raised to 4. Now let us come to figure 2. So this will be figure 2. We are considering the quarter circle. Again, G represents the centroid of the composite figure and G2 represents the centroid of the symbol figure. The centroid values are written. The area of the second figure A2 is given here. Gx means an axis passing through G, and G2x is the axis passing through centroid of figure 2. Now to find Igx of 2, again we are going to apply parallaxis theorem to figure 2. To apply parallaxis theorem, we have to identify which is the parallel axis and which is the centroidal axis. We are applying to figure 2, therefore G2x is the centroidal axis and therefore Gx becomes the parallel axis. So Igx of 2 is equal to Ig2x of 2 plus A2 into y square. Y will be the difference of the x coordinate of G and G2. So simply this value we have already found out, it is a quarter circle. Central moment of inertia is 0.055 r raised to 4 plus area of the figure into difference of the y coordinates. Difference of the y coordinates. The y coordinates are available here, or you can take it from the table we have already written. You will get the value as 256,487.56 centimeter raised to 4. In a similar fashion, moment of inertia of about the gy axis of figure 2 can also be found out. If you do this calculation, we will get it as 606.606387.06 centimeter raised to 4. Again, what you have to note here is this term x is nothing but distance between the gy axis and g2y axis. Difference between two y axis can be taken as difference of the x coordinate of g and g2. Now let us consider the third figure. So for the third figure again, centroid of the composite figure is written as G. Centroid of figure 3 is given as G3. A3 is the area of the third figure. Gx is the x-axis through the centroid of composite figure. G3x is the x-axis through centroid of the figure 3. Now to find Igx of 3, we apply parallax theorem to figure 3. Again we are considering figure 3, therefore G3x is the centroidal axis and Gx is the parallel axis. So we apply Igx of 3 is equal to Ig3x of 3 plus A3 into y square. Again we are considering the difference between distance between two x-axis, which will be nothing but difference of the y coordinate of G and G3. So again if we apply the formula, it is a triangle, therefore BDQ by 36 plus 600 into the difference of the y coordinates of G and G3. We will be getting the value as 268,562.16 centimeter raised to 4. In a similar fashion, you can find out the value of the moment of inertia of third figure about the GY axis. So these are the steps involved. Here also you can see that we are calculating the distance between two y-axis, which is nothing but the difference of the x-coordinates of G and G3. So you can see here difference of the x-coordinates of G and G3. So these values you can take from the directly from the table that you have already prepared for centroids. Similarly, area can be taken from the table which you have already prepared for the area of the various shapes. So as of now what we have done is we have found out moment of inertia of figure 1, figure 2 and figure 3 about Gx as well as Gy axis. So all three has been found out by applying parallel axis theorem. Now this is the first equation that we have written, that is moment of inertia of composite shape about the Gx axis will be sum of the moment of inertia of symbol figures about the Gx axis. So all we have to do is we have to substitute the values we have already found out. We will get it as 914,967.56 centimeter raised to 4. Similarly, to find Igy, we write the equation and simply substitute the values. We will be getting the answer as 150,6902.57 centimeter raised to 4. Now this is the area of the composite figure as well as the centroid of the composite figure. Now if we need to find out the moment of inertia of the composite figure about the x-axis passing through the origin, in that case the centroidal axis becomes the Gx axis and Ox becomes the parallel axis. Ox is an x-axis passing through the origin. So we apply the parallel axis theorem. Iox is equal to Igx plus area of the composite figure into distance between these two axes square. So Igx value we have already found here, we are substituting it here. This is the area of the composite figure. Now distance between two x-axis will be difference of the y coordinates. So the y coordinate of the origin is 0, the y coordinate of G is 29.94. We subtract them and take square of them, you will get it as 4.046 into 10 raised to 6 centimeter raised to 4. In a similar fashion, you can also find out moment of inertia about the y-axis passing through origin also. You can find it out. Now, to find the radius of gyration about the x-axis passing through the origin. The formula for radius of gyration is square root of moment of inertia divided by area. So we are finding it about x-axis passing through origin. Therefore, the moment of inertia should also be about the x-axis passing through the origin. So IOX divided by area. So if you substitute the values, you will be getting it as 34.03 centimeter. In a similar way, if we want to find out radius of gyration of the composite figure about an x-axis passing through the centroid, in that case the formula would be square root of Igx divided by area, that is moment of inertia about which the radius of gyration you have to calculate should be same as moment of inertia about which you need to calculate the radius of gyration. So this is the end of example number 1. We will see one more example related to computation of moment of inertia of composite shapes. Let us consider example number 2. So this is the figure in example number 2. Here again we have to find out moment of inertia of the green colored portion. That is, the red colored portion is being cut out from the hole. However, in this case we don't have to find out the moment of inertia about the centroidal axis. Rather, we only need to find out moment of inertia about the x-axis and y-axis passing through the origin. So whenever the moment of inertia of the composite figure about the centroidal axis need not be found, we don't have to calculate the centroid of the composite shape. Rather, what we can do is we can directly uh, find out, apply the parallaxis theorem and find the moment of inertia about the required axis. So step number 1 is we number the different symbol shapes. So shape number 1 is a triangle. Shape number 2 is triangle number 2. Centroid are also given. Shape number 3 will be the rectangle. So this rectangle will be shape number 3, and shape number 4 will be this uh, circle. Since we have not numbered it, but you can number it as shape number 4. That will be this circle. Now next thing